Kapil Madan, I'm coming to you. Interestingly, in a lot of the statements that Mahua Moitra has made, she's tried to restrict the reportage on this case. She has tried to, suggest defamation on the complainants in this case. But interestingly, she has not denied even once that she did share her login and password. And that seems to be the albatross around her neck. All the other allegations, whether she received any bribe, whether she received money or items, come secondary. Firstly, is whether she asked questions on behalf of a business group, targeting a business group. Even if I leave that moral question aside, it's a very technical question of who posted the questions on her behalf and whether they were even in India, as Mr. Jay Panda was mentioning.
Yes, Shivani, I do agree with you. What was the question asked? What was the intent of the question is a separate issue. The fact remains is that if her login credentials, which is a person-specific, an authorized person given access, if those details, if those credentials were shared to a different entity, then yes, prima facie, it appears to be prima facie, there appears to be something wrong about it, and all these things can be verified. I mean, these allegations, the fact that Mahua Moitra has not contradicted this statement can also be seen from this slide, because you can't refute it. Because if you are here in Delhi, there would be an evidence, your mobile location, which would show that you are in Delhi. And the fact remains, if the login of her, from her credential has happened from a place outside Delhi, then it prima facie shows that yes, someone else who was not authorized to access the portal of the Parliament of India.
And in this case, her problems compound, because it's likely the digital evidence will show that it was not even a staff member from her office or her residence doing this. It could well be, as is being alleged in this case, a person living overseas.
Shivani, I think I will not, dwell. This is a matter of investigation from where the login happened and who was the person, who logged in on her behalf, or, after taking credentials from her. This is in the realm of investigation. I will not make any statement this way or that way. But the fact remains that if you are in Delhi and if someone else has access your account, and the fact remains that there is a controversy that that access was given to ask question, and there was some some quid pro quo or some benefits that were given to Mahua. So these are all a question that will be investigated. But prima facie, it appears to be a case where there should be an investigation. This warrants an investigation.
Well, that's the least you can say, Kapil Madan. Thank you, but that's the absolute lowest common denominator statement that there should be an investigation. We all know there will be an investigation, but that's okay.
Yes.
Let me go across to Gargi as well. Gargi, Mahua Moitra has presented herself as the one who speaks truth to power. She's been, of course, very, very critical of the Narendra Modi-led government. She's been very critical of clearly the Adani companies. And all of that facade, if I may use that word today, is under question. The very motivations are under question when allegations of these types are made, and at least two people involved are actually coming out and accepting that yes, this was the case. There's nowhere to hide, unfortunately. And what do you make also of the fact that the joint opposition that is in a national alliance today is not saying a word? The TMC, forget the TMC, even the other parties are not saying a word.
Right. I think thank you for calling, Shivani, and Shubho Shoshti and Sharod Shubhecha to you and Shatarupadi and all.
Ji.
And there is a saying that chorer maer boro gola. You know what does that mean? That means that the thief's mother has the loudest voice. I think Miss Mahua Moitra symbolizes that. That's why she is showing that she has an attitude, she is holier than thou. No, she isn't. You know, the unfortunate thing is the constituency she represents, Krishnanagar, is suffering. People of Krishnanagar has not seen her, they've forgotten her face. So, as the representative of the people, instead of asking their questions, she came to politics from a corporate background and corporate ambition to make name and fame, which is very clear from Darshan Hiranandani's letter. So that was her purpose. So she doesn't even deserve to be in the parliament as an elected representative of the people. That is, I think, that's a major point. She doesn't deserve to be there. And even Darshan Hiranandani now seemed to have, he was feeling pressurized because he was repeatedly being forced to give favors or gifts. So,
Well, there is a question though, why Mr. Hiranandani is only coming out now and making it sound like it was a completely one-sided pressure. I'm not sure if one can take that on its face value either. But leaving that aside, problems for Mahua Moitra don't begin and end with Mr. Hiranandani's statement.
But now that issue has come up, I think he wants to come clear, and he also fed up with giving her favors and expensive gifts. So that may be one of the greatest reasons. And see, that
Gargi, I'm losing your video.
No, yes. 1 second now, because I was getting, I think, the TMC members, the party members, leadership, they have also distanced themselves from Mahua Moitra, and that is the reason they are also realizing. And I'll tell you, Shivani, I really doubt whether next year Mamata Banerjee will give her the ticket, because the people of the constituency is fed up and her party
I think
people
that
are
ship
not
has
supporting
sailed.
her.
But Garga Chatterjee, I do want to ask you, don't you think it's incumbent on the TMC too to come out and say something? I mean, you cannot just stay quiet when one of your very prominent MPs, parliamentarians, is facing these charges, and you make grave charges of both corruption and impropriety. I don't think that the party can keep quiet. There should be at least some statement from their behalf.
Level of ethics is now very low. This is a what you call a complaint against a MP from Trinamool. Rahul Gandhi made database complaints on relationship between Narendra Modi and Adani. There was no answer in the parliament.
No, that wasn't a complaint. That wasn't a complaint. No, you are confusing two issues. One second, Garga Chatterjee, I'll give you your time, but let's not confuse issues. Let's stick to the facts. Rahul Gandhi made statements in Parliament about the relationship. He never filed a complaint as far as the relationship is concerned.
Political party is very low level of ethics in Parliament. The seat of Parliament, with Joy Panda was so eloquently saying that this is the highest this and highest that. Their points were made and the Prime Minister does not answer. This is the level.
But why aren't you answering my question? Yes, okay, your contention is the BJP is bad. But what about the TMC's responsibility?
If you do not like the answer, for whatever reason, if you do not
answer my question, I'm asking you about
reason,
TMC staying quiet.
So let me answer.
Yes, go ahead.
I also understand what kind of answers and what kind of words are red words.
No,
okay.
Don't go to something else. Stick to the question I'm asking.
I will go to something else. I will go to something else. I understand what I am talking about. You do not like. I will go to something else.
No, it's not about me liking or not. It's a fundamental question to ask on a day like today. If this was any other parliamentarian, Garga, I'll come to you. You're getting needlessly agitated. Just calm down for 1 second. If there was any other parliamentarian from any other party, their party would have been. Their party would be incumbent to at least make a statement, either to the extent that we defend that parliamentarian or that we just want the law to take its own course. Squeaky silence is never done in Parliament.
I understand. I will go to something else. We all eat Adani's oil and soybean. So
Garga, I'm sorry. That is not justified. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That is not justified. No, that is not justified. I'm sorry if you're unable to make your arguments. Don't make personal jibes either against me or anybody else on the panel.
Is Adani some kind of a Nishidha word? It's a banned word.
No, I'm sorry, but don't make personal attacks on anybody. You want to make your argument, you make your argument.
Okay,
if you're going to come down to this level, then you have no argument.
You do not eat Adani oil and soybean, other people do. Okay, it is not personal. Okay.
No, I'm not asking you about that. Whether it is personal against Adani or not, that Mahua Moitra's fortunes will tell. I'm asking you the question about TMC. I'm asking you the question about TMC.
You tell me. See, Mr. Lawyer, I forget the surname. Maybe it will come right now. Mr. Modon. So he said something very interesting. So, first is whether the login credential issue. It's a very, very important and pertinent point. And this might be a good time to, because see, for example, I work at an institution where if I am to use certain things, I have a registered whatever of device, which is my official login, whatever. Okay. So anything else will put a different IP stamp.
Yes.
So that's the issue. Whether you are using a authorized device or not. This might be a very good time to look at, and I know this data will not come out, to look at all the logins of all the MPs of all the parties.
Okay.
But
I
no
think
guts.
Kapil Madan is a
No
lawyer
guts.
and he will contest to the fact that that's not how investigations happen. That just because one person's case has come in, you subject everybody else to an investigation. Very nicely, you've diverted for 5 minutes now from the fundamental question I'm asking you about TMC. I'm sorry I don't have more time to give to you because your aim is to not answer that question and deflect. Shatorupa, Kapil, I'll come to you. Shatorupa, your response on the accountability of the party in question here today as well.
Shivani, the other speaker, she very rightly said, Gargi, sorry, I forgot her name. Gargi very beautifully said that Chorer Mayer Boro Gola. I want to add to that. Dhormer call Batashe Nore is something that we believe in Bengal, which means what you do comes around. She has been abusing Ma Kali. I mean, I'm saying this specifically because we're into Devi Pokho and we are about to welcome Maduga home. This lady completely defiantly has been saying a lot of things over the last so many years that she's been a first-time parliamentarian, and every time, if you notice, Shivani, her party has been remaining very silent. Now, either I would be given to understand that the party's intellect is so low that they don't understand her high-flown, so-called high-flown English, most of them they probably don't even understand, or they don't want to come out in support of her.
Well,
Now,
there has been news of friction or at least not very great relationships between Mahua Moitra and her party. Certainly in this case, one can say that nobody from her party has come out to defend her.
That's my point. Shivani, very many times this has happened. So I am really not surprised that once again Mahua Moitra has this time not put her foot into her mouth. She obviously has put in a lot of other assets in her mouth, too much for her to digest. So therefore, Trinamool wants to maintain a so-called dignified distance, which they don't have.
Well, I'm not sure. That's the question that I'm asking. Can you maintain, quote unquote, as you said, that's a great term you use, dignified distance when your MP is facing both ethical and moral and corruption charges? Already in West Bengal, many investigations have had ex-ministers and senior leaders of the TMC being roped in those investigations. Partha Chatterjee is the name that comes to light, of course. And yes, Mamata Banerjee was forced to take action against him just because of the sheer visuals that came out in that case. But how can you maintain a dignified distance when another of your parliamentarian is living, quote unquote, a high life from the charges that have been made against what your party actually stands for and is asking questions at the behest of a business group, as is the charges here, and is accused of corruption and ethical impropriety? But Kapil, I have 30 seconds left. 30 seconds to you. You wanted to come in very quickly.
So, yes, so I just want to respond to Mr. Chatterjee when he said that, every MP's login credential should be investigated. So it's like making an argument that if someone has done a wrong, if he's being investigated, you say, no, you please investigate the entire citizenry. I mean, this sounds little, irrational to me. A person investigation will happen where there are prima facie documents, there are prima facie substance to support the allegation.
Right.
And in this case, it meets that criteria that yes, prima facie case appears to be there, and therefore there should be an investigation.
Fair enough.